Bezros Hashem Yisparach Erev Shabbos Kodesh Parashat Masei Shanas Tov Shian Pei Beis. You know, nowadays there's lots of advertisements in all the newsletters and news sheets and newspapers. Lots of adverts of going on holiday. It's very interesting. Here in Eretz Yisrael, all the adverts are all about Europe, the mountains in Europe and the Swiss Alps. And if you look in Europe, then they advertise a lot about the Koisla Marovi, Geula, and Eretz Yisrael. Everywhere depends where you are, then the advertisements are different. But nevertheless, all the same idea. They show you the hotel, they show you the mountains, they show you the swimming pool, Gewaldig. But one thing they won't show you is the traveling to reach your destination. The long queues of the airports. And if your suitcase arrives, your suitcase doesn't arrive. And the long delays, and the seats you get in the economy class of the aeroplanes, and then you arrive in the middle of the night. If you have a connecting flight, without a connecting flight, finally you arrive and you take a taxi till you reach your destination. This they're not going to show you or tell you about, because it's not important. They're traveling to the destination. The main thing is you arrived, you're now in a 5-star hotel, Baruch Hashem, do the mountains, a cooked meal is waiting for you. This is the main thing. The traveling to get there, sure, we'll forget about it. But the Ribono Shel Olam, there's a whole parasha, a parasha called Masei, a parasha about the traveling of Am Yisrael. We arrive now in Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Zovas Cholav Advosh, a land of milk and honey. And we don't want to forget the Masei. We don't want to forget the traveling, how we reached our destination. Why? Because in Yiddishkeit, in Judaism, it's not only to reach a destination, it's how you got there, how you built up to become a nation. How did you become a nation? What formed us as a nation? It was each one of these stopovers where we were going on our destination to Eretz Yisrael. That's what built us. The Nisyonos, actually just living in the Midbar, is what built us. The Medrash says, the Medrash Tanchum in Parashat Beshalach says as follows: Omar Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Ribono Shel Olam said, if I will just take Am Yisrael in the quickest way from Mitzrayim, from Egypt to Eretz Yisrael, then what's going to be? Machzikim ish besodov kerem. Each person will acquire a field and vineyards. And they're going to forget the Torah. They were in Egypt slaves. They come 11 days later. They go straight to Eretz Yisrael. It takes about 11 days. They arrive in Eretz Yisrael. Whoa, look at these sodas. Look at the fields, the vineyards. They're going to forget the Torah in Yiddishkeit. So therefore, says the Medrash, I will lead them through the desert. They will eat the man. They will drink from the well of the Be'er. And then the Torah will become infused in their guf. They will become a shtik Torah. They will become a people of Torah. So then, after 40 years of studying Torah in the Midbar, they will come now out to Eretz Yisrael. The physical world won't attract them. The physical world won't distance them from the Torah. They will always remember the Torah in them, in their life. It's in their soul. And it's in their soul. Nothing will deter them from the Torah, even after they will arrive in Eretz Yisrael. Let's have a look how it was a day in the Midbar. The day in the Midbar, what took place? The Rambam, in the introduction to the Pirush HaMishnayos, describes as follows. Moshe Rabbeinu would come and say the halacha. He would say the mitzvah, which Am Yisrael didn't yet know. So every day was telling a different mitzvah. So for example, Moshe Rabbeinu would say the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah. Shivas yomim teishu basukkos. That is called Torah shebichsav. A pasuk, Shivas yomim teishu basukkos. And then he would give a shiur, he would give a class. Moshe Rabbeinu would teach Aharon HaKohen. He would teach him all the Torah Shebal Peh that's around the mitzvah. When do you have to sit in the sukkah? How many walls does a sukkah need? What's the minimum measurement of a wall of the sukkah? Who has to sit in the sukkah? Who doesn't have to sit in the sukkah? That's all Torah Shebal Peh, the Mesechet Sukkah. So Moshe Rabbeinu, together with the mitzvah of Basukkah Teish Shivas Yomim, he would give a shir, he would give a class to explain and and to be able to teach Am Yisrael how this mitzvah is applied, how a person keeps this mitzvah. After Aaron HaKohen heard the shir, then his sons would come. Elozvi Moshe Rabbeinu would say it again to the sons of Aaron. And then the 70 elders would come, and Moshe Rabbeinu would say it again to them. And then Am Yisrael would come, and Moshe Rabbeinu would say it again to Am Yisrael. And therefore everyone, Moshe Rabbeinu said it over 4 times. And then Moshe Rabbeinu would leave. Aharon would then say what he heard till now. And then Aharon would leave. The sons of Aharon would say over. And then the Shirim Zakanim would say it over to Am Yisrael. Like this, everyone heard it 4 times. And then what would happen, says the Rambam, Umispazrim, they would go and separate along. Umispazrim asorim b'kol beis Yisrael, they would go and have groups amongst the camp of Am Yisrael, lelamed uleshanen, to teach and to go over, ad sheyedu oisoi mikro, until they will know what that posuk means, veyaskilu kriyosoi, and they will know the depth and the meaning of the mitzvah and all the halachos of the mitzvah. Umelamdim bioroisa mikro shenitan me'et Hashem, and they will learn the new mitzvah that we're introduced to today. They will learn it, what they received from Hashem. And this was a regular day in the Midbar. For 40 years they ate the man, they drank from the bear of Miriam, and they would learn Torah, the Torah Shebechsav, the Torah Shebal Peh with Moshe Rabbeinu. Even says that Moshe Rabbeinu on Chodesh Shvat, before he was Nifta, he would go around Am Yisrael, say, is there anything unclear, anything which you didn't know, please come and tell me, I will be able to clarify the halachas. That's how they were, so immersed in Torah. Of course, that as well Nisyonos. We know the stories, the well-known stories of Koirach, the Meraglim, but this was Nisyonos that took place while they were in the Midbar. But the day-to-day living in the Midbar, it was acquiring Torah, infusing themselves with Torah. So when they came out of the desert, they became a Am of Torah, Am HaNifcho. So therefore the Torah wants to teach us, Eile Masei B'nei Yisrael. It's in Yiddishkeit, it's not just a destination, what you became, but it is the steps you took to become the Am HaNifcho. The journey that you needed, that alone, the Torah shows appreciation to the journey, the acquiring of becoming a Am HaNifcho. This is in itself an important stage, and that's why the Torah allocates a Parsha Masei to teach to us that the journey a person takes, and each destination which we have to go through, each thing that makes us and builds us, that alone has a great importance and value in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, if you have a look, the Malbim asks the following question: Ele Masei B'nei Yisrael asher yotzu me'eretz Mitzrayim, which this is a journey they took leaving Egypt. Shouldn't it have said this is a journey they took to Eretz Yisrael? Would have made more sense to have said, this agenda you say, the journey I took to New York, the journey I took to Beersheba. You know that the journey I took from Bnei Brak, it doesn't go. You have to say to where you are going. So Malbim, why does it say, L'maseh Bnei Yisrael asher yotzu me'eretz Mitzrayim? Shouldn't it have said, asher nasu, which they traveled to Eretz Yisrael? So in order to understand the Malbim, I'll explain a moshel. For example, there is an app called the Waze. Now, when you put in a destination to the Waze calculates a few different ways for you to travel to your destination. Let's say I'm from Bnei Brak, I want to travel to Yerushalayim. So you put in Yerushalayim. Now, there's a few ways of going to Yerushalayim. You can go, I think, with a Kvish Shesh, maybe, I don't know, I don't drive a car, but maybe I think it's a Kvish Shesh, which it's a toll road. But it's the fastest way of getting there. So you take a toll road, it's faster but more expensive. You can choose another way of getting to your destination without a toll road. Or you can take unpaved road. If you have a 4x4, you can take an unpaved road. So you choose the destination, but there's a few ways of going. So the way you want to travel, you can choose which way you want. You want to spend money, you want the fastest way, the cheapest way, 4x4 way. There's different ways of traveling to your destination. Says the Holy Malbim, there is another way that a person sometimes has to take to a destination. It is called that he needs for his own health. for his own well-being, you have to go through these certain destinations. For example, the Moshel, the Malbim says there's somebody who lives in an igloo in the North Pole, and he wants to go to the Sahara Desert, or maybe nowadays he wants to go to London. And so for him, the contrast, the difference between the North Pole and the heat of the Sahara Desert is, it's not possible. You can't go from one to the other. Rather, you have to go a journey slowly, go to Finland and Sweden and go to different countries, and he has to adjust himself to the different temperatures until he become adjusted to the heat of the Sahara Desert. Same too says Oli Malbim, Am Yisrael went Tumas Mitzrayim, Mem Tet Shari Tumah, and they had to reach Eretz Yisrael. Now, you can't just jump from Mem Tet Shari Tumah to Eretz Yisrael. So therefore, every destination that they took, every stop, that they had on the way was another level of taking away the Tumas Mitzrayim from Am Yisrael. They are leaving Mitzrayim, and that's why it says, Eile Masei Bnei Yisrael asher yotzu me'eretz Mitzrayim. These are the destinations that they took that takes them out from Egypt, from the hashpos of Egypt. How did they come out? Each destination that they had, each place that they stopped, every nisoyon that they had brought them closer to Hashem and distanced them from Egypt. So therefore, now we understand the Pasuk, asher yotzu me'eretz Mitzrayim. Says Oli Malbim, this is the Lashon he says, Hamasoi Seelu, these journeys were al pi Hashem, it was according to Hashem, Roifei Hanefoshes, Hashem who heals the soul. It was a journey of healing, and if it's a journey of healing, it was al pi Hashem. He is a Roifei Hanefoshes, and he knows where every Jew, what he needs, what it takes for him to become a better person. And that is the idea of these journeys Am Yisrael had to take. We arrived in Eretz Yisrael, of Baruch Hashem, Am Nifcho, a holy nation, a pure nation. But the Torah wants to show us the importance of your journey to reach the spiritual destination that we achieved has an importance as well. Eile Masei B'nei Yisrael. And just to end, says the Holy Orach Chaim HaKodesh, it says Eile Masei. And we have a klal, Eile, when it says Eile, it means posal asarishoinus. It means a starting from new. Ve'eile is a continuation, right? Eile, Masei, is start from new. So what does it mean, start from new? Because explained that Shabina Rov, the Heilige Shabina Rov, he was a Rav in Yerushalayim. And a Jew came to him, a Yid, an Avrech came to him, and he had a problem, something in business, something, and he wasn't moving forward. He wasn't getting out. He was, as you would say, drowning in his problem. So Shabina Rov realized this. Shabina Rov told her, I'd like to ask you a following question. There was this younger man, there was this man, and he was walking along Malchi Yisrael in Gola on Erev Yom Kippur morning, Erev Yom Kippur, early in the morning. In one hand he was holding a chicken for Kaporos, Erev Yom Kippur, and the other hand the holy Machzah of Yom Kippur. And as he's walking along B'Kedusha v'Tahara, his glasses fell on the pavement. How did he walk on? How did he continue? On the one hand, if he lets go of the chicken, he doesn't have a chicken for kaporos. A machzah, put it on the floor. You can't put a machzah on the floor. And his glasses is on the floor. How did he continue? So this man thinking to himself, what did he do? The chicken, the machzah, the chicken. What did he? I don't know. He said, Kvod Harav. What did he do? Said the Holy Shabina Rov, I don't know what he did. But one thing I do know, if you walk now in Malchi Yisrael in Yerushalayim in Gola, you're not going to see there today an Avrech standing with a chicken and a machzah and his glasses on the pavement. Something he did and he moved on. And this is what I'm saying. In full water. You have to continue on. And this is the inyan over here. Eile Masei, says Oli Orach Chaim HaKodesh, for a person to start a journey, for a person to be mitkadem, to go forward forward in Judaism, in Yiddishkeit, and in life in general, you have to learn posal asarishonos. You have to leave what was. You have to let it all behind and start your journey, and then you will succeed in reaching such great levels in Yiddishkeit. Hashem, who is roifei nefoshes, the Rebbeinu Shalom who heals the souls, He's able to heal every Jew. He's able to lead you in the way that you will need the direction to reach your destination. And the journey in itself has an importance. The journey in itself, we have to appreciate each tachana we are in, to appreciate it as a chelik of avodas Hashem. Thank you very much for listening. May you all have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos.